This is a Nioh 3 running on a pretty high-end PC. It looks like a PlayStation 3 game and plays like a PowerPoint presentation, but today we're fixing it, doubling your FPS and killing the blur in 5 minutes. Hey guys, welcome back to GeekJ, where we make tech, tutorials and gaming simpler and better. So let's be real for a second. The visual fidelity of a Nioh 3, it's rough. It feels like the developers just slapped some global illumination on top of the now infamous Katana engine with zero optimization. And unfortunately, this seems to be the industry standard lately, especially for AAA titles, right? It's basically release now, fix later, maybe, but we're not gonna stand for that. Gamers, let's go. So let me just show you the vanilla experience, and I'm gonna go into the menus here. Visuals. I've maxed out pretty much everything except for the absolute slop, so no motion blur vignette. I'm gonna just show you, and the game still looks unfortunately smeary. There's ghosting for no reason, even though we don't have any frame generation going, and it's kind of crazy. But anyway, let's go over it. You can see this is a 1080p monitor and it's a high refresh rate monitor. It's 165 Hz. So let's go first into the resolution advanced settings. We could go higher for some reason. So this game supports out of the box super sampling, I guess. But anyway, so if we go over here, you can see it says native AA, and I have 0 sharpness. For some reason the game defaults to the max setting of sharpness, which is 1, and it looks super bad. So let me just go back to show you how ridiculous this looks. So this is the default experience, as you can see, and because of all that sharpness you can see all the smeariness over here. It's insane, and it doesn't feel smooth. Like it says 70 FPS, it's not smooth, it's not. And if I lock it to 60, we're gonna get to that. So yeah, I'm kind of ranting here, sorry about that. So let's just keep to the script I've written, otherwise it's gonna get crazy. Anyway, as you can see over here, native AA, we could go with XSS2 native AA, so let's try that as well. I'm gonna press yes, and the default is maxing out the sharpness, so this is why I'm showing you this. And it even looks worse than this, by the way, because it's not only the sharpness they have on by default, but a lot of other slop effects. So anyway, since this is native AA, we're not upscaling or anything, I'm gonna show you how the game looks, which is a lot better without the sharpness filter. It already looks better, and it looks better because I disabled the other sloppy stuff, which is, let me go in here and see what else we have. It uses by default dynamic resolution, and this is not set to 100%. It's kind of crazy. Like even if you go for the highest preset, it's kind of crazy. Thankfully, they're not giving us frame generation like forced, and we only have for some reason FSR frame generation only. But anyway, we're gonna get to all that in a bit. But anyway, let me go a step backwards. And we're gonna go, let me revert back to FSR 3.1, and as you can see, if you're not careful, it's gonna default back to sharpness maxed out. I'm gonna just bring it back to 0, check the rest of my settings, and then I'm gonna say yes, I wanna keep those settings. We have 2 different frame caps. I'm gonna go with 60, and I'm gonna demonstrate again that even though we did lock on 60, nothing has changed in regards to smoothness. I don't think it's going to be visible through YouTube, but anyway, this feels exactly the same, if not a little bit worse, if I'm being honest. Even though I have seen a lot of other people covering this, saying that if you lock to the frame rate, you can hit like 100% of the time it's going to feel smoother. It doesn't. It feels exactly the same. Anyway, now we are on an 120 FPS lock, and it feels exactly the same for me. Nothing has changed. As you can see, we have no frame generation, but already we are seeing a little bit of ghosting for some reason, and it is smeary. And anyway, let's just get over the whole thing. Anyway, FPS dynamic adjustment, I turn it off. HDR, I'm not using it on this monitor in general. Post effects. Motion blur, I've turned it off. Everything is on the highest possible setting, but all the slop stuff I've turned completely off. I hate motion blur. Chromatic aberration looks horrific. I don't know why they added this. It's like, oh, when you look through the camera, the lens distorts, like, you know, the lens itself and the colors. I'm not looking through a camera, I'm looking through my monitor. I want to experience, you know, the actual reality, not like looking through, you know, a camera lens. Lens vignette, I don't know why they're doing that. I don't like it. Some people like vignette, I don't like it. There's a noise filter, which is basically film grain. There's another band noise. I disabled both of these. They add different kind of noise filters. Why? Anyway, moving on. High color precision. I prefer my colors to be accurate. Depth of field, I like it on. Some people don't like it. I like it on because it's closer to what reality feels like. When you focus on one thing, you know, the human eye will focus on that thing and everything else around it becomes blur. But anyway, lens flare, I think it's close to reality. In this game, I haven't seen any super bad stuff happening with the lens flare, kept it on. And then we have bloom, also kept it on, and subsurface scattering also kept it on, because skin is supposed to look better with subsurface scattering. I don't know if it works in this game, because everything is like PlayStation 3 quality. I'm sorry if I'm ranting, but it is, like, even the textures look PlayStation 3 era, like subsurface scattering. Is it gonna do anything if your skin texture is like, I don't know, 800 by 600? No idea. Anyway, advanced settings, shadow quality, ultra, ambient occlusion, ultra, model quality. You can see like all of these are kind of maxed out. And then if we go to the next screen over here, everything is maxed out, including global illumination, which I didn't put on ultra because I didn't see any big difference except from my frames per second. And for some reason, we're locked to FPS cutscenes to 60 or 30. We have these two options. So I don't really know. Anyway, these are pretty much the options of the game. And this is the visual quality we're getting. Let me connect my Xbox 360 controller over here so we can experience the game in all of its fullness. I don't know why that thing fell off, like the physics get weird and stuff. But yeah, this is how the game looks. This is how the characters look. Like, nothing too insane. And this is 1080p native. So I'm not like running any crazy stuff, and it's still running on 70 FPS, 80 FPS max or something. We're gonna use this area as a benchmark, but you can all see how the game looks. But yeah, even without frame generation, we're getting ghosting blur, and it just feels heavy for a PlayStation 3 looking game. I'm not even kidding, like, look at this. This is maxed out, right? You can see my GPU is pegged on 99%. CPU is working really hard for unknown reasons. Like, this game is not that hard to run. Like, my PlayStation 3 looked like this. I'm not even kidding, guys. And yeah, we're getting 80 FPS, so that's it. And it's not like a very heavy scene, like there's no battles, there's no effects and stuff. So yeah, native AA, this is FSR 3.1 and it looks kind of weird, and XeSS. Sometimes in some situations it looks a little bit better, but it's not fixing the core issues. So yeah, let me go back into the setting over here, and it kind of feels like this is a trap because it offers FPS locks at 30, 60, and 120. And basically, I've seen on YouTube this common advice, like lock it to what you can hit 100% of the time, and it's gonna be smooth. But in Nioh 3, this is a lie for me so far. So I have my specs in the description below if you want to check them out. This is on a super fast SSD installed on a super fast NVMe SSD to be exact. So yeah, if I go to 60 FPS, so let me go back, and you can see we're locked to 60 FPS over here. Even at this locked frames per second, which my rig can easily handle, the frame pacing is all over the place, basically. I don't know if the graphs show it or whatever, it's how the game feels. So it feels stuttery, and on a high refresh rate monitor, if you've played anything above 60 FPS, you know exactly what I mean. It's not smooth. Okay, and don't get me started on the default upscalers, because they give you frames, but they steal your image quality, and I believe we can do better. So let me just go through this super fast. So if we go into the visuals and then I go into the resolution advanced settings, this is where you find the upscalers. Let's go with, let's say 75%, and we're gonna go with 0.2 sharpness, and this is like quality preset of any upscaler. So let's go back by pressing Q, and then we're gonna say yes, we're gonna apply these new settings, and you can see we do have more smeariness. We got that fuzziness around the characters now. So the FSR 3.1 doesn't look good. Like, look at how the clarity dropped for the 75% on a static image. Like, my character is not moving right now, right? And it feels super weird. We are, again, locked on 60 FPS. And if I go and lock it to 120, you can see that we did gain like 20 FPS. The game feels exactly the same. Like the fires over there, because of the FSR 3.1 upscaler right now, I can see a lot of the issues we get, and you can see that on the basically top on the roof tiles over there. We see the pixelation when I move the camera, as you can see over there, and the fire is not smooth while I move the camera. Like, it feels super stuttery. And even if I lock this to 60 FPS, as I'm gonna show you right now, I'm getting the exact same experience. Yep, it's exactly the same. Like, nothing has changed. It feels not smooth. And while I'm turning the camera, even though you can see my FPS are 60, locked at 60, right? You can see that line over there from the Steam overlay is dead smooth. It feels the same exact way. It's super stuttery and it's not smooth, and I see the same problems. Obviously the pixelation is there, but yeah, we get ghosting and everything. So it is pretty bad. And obviously as we go lower, the image quality is gonna get worse. But anyway, I'm gonna try this with 120, and then I'm gonna go and show you guys how the game looks with XeSS 2. I'm gonna go with the same 0.2 in sharpness, and I'm gonna say yes to save these options, 120, and it does look a little bit better, but we get different problems. I don't know if this is gonna be visible through the YouTube video, but it's significantly blurrier and more smeary. It's like you have a very thin layer of Vaseline over your display, your monitor, when you're using XeSS2, the default version of XeSS2, by the way, that comes with the game. And it does feel pretty stuttery on the 120 FPS lock. Let's go ahead and lock it to 60 FPS. And by the way, I also tested this without OBS and all of the other crap I'm usually running behind the scenes to record the videos, because I was like, maybe this is the problem, like no overlays, no nothing, and it still performed the exact same way. Obviously, I got a little bit more FPS, but anyway, as you can see on the 60 FPS lock, it performs exactly the same and it feels exactly the same. I get the same stutteriness, not smooth. And as you can see, this version of XeSS is very much worse in some stuff. Like you can see those pixelations happening in the background over there. On the tiled roof in the background, you can see that XeSS2 that comes into the game by default performs even worse than the FSR 3.1. And it is kind of, changing all the time and is distracting. This is what we have to work with. So first of all, let me exit out of the game. The first step to salvation is a DLSS swapper, in my opinion. And if you have an NVIDIA card or AMD card or Intel card, this is mandatory. And it's open source, so we pretty much have zero excuses to not use this tool. So you can download it from GitHub. A link is going to be in the description below. And we're going to update the DLSS binaries to the latest version and every other upscaler we can see available on the interface. And pretty much that's the first step. And as you can see, the game ships with outdated files because of course it does, even though it's a new release. And we're just gonna swap them out. So basically what we are going to do, if you've never used this before, we're going to go under here that says DLSS. And as you can see, it's using the outdated 310.4. We're going to go with a 310.5.3. So if you're on an NVIDIA card, the benefit you're going to have from this is that you can basically use DLSS 4.5. If you don't go this route, you're going to be locked with probably DLSS 4 only. So yeah, we're gonna hit swap, and as you can see now, it is using the latest binary for its upscaler. We can do the same for the frame generation, and we're gonna click swap, and then we can do the same for XeSS. And as you can see, this is also a very, very outdated version. So from 2.0.0, we can go all the way up to 2.0.2, the latest version. We're gonna press swap, and we can do the same for frame generation, which is for some reason included into the binaries of the game, but it was unselectable. So we're gonna go with the latest version from 1.0.0 to 1.2.2, so that's a huge jump. And for XeLL, we're gonna do the same. So we're gonna swap those as well. And we can close out of this one, and we're pretty much done with the work we're supposed to do with DLSS swapper. So now if we do run the game, I just really quickly want to show you this. Basically, let me go back into the settings and then visuals, and I can basically lock my FPS to 120. And then if we go back into the resolution advanced settings over here, you can see we do have, for some reason, now that we updated the binaries manually, we do have frame generation. Before we had only FSR 3, but now we have XeSS frame generation. So only by manually updating, you can basically experience a better frame generation than what is provided in the vanilla game by just updating the official binaries of those upscalers. We didn't do anything else, like no OptiScaler yet, no nothing, right? So you can see now everything changes. We get the 240 fixed FPS cap over here and all that good stuff. And the game now does feel smoother, I have to say. It does feel smoother. It does still have, with XeSS, that problem with the pixelation on the tiled rooftop, as we can see at the top over there. And then if we go on ahead and use 75% random resolution and then go to 0.2 sharpness and then go back and save that option, you will see that we do get a little bit of a crisper image if we compare it to the one from before. I don't know if it's going to be visible through the YouTube compression, but yeah, this is a little bit better in regards to how the game looks, but it has a different problem. It introduces kind of jittery textures. So if you see the gold around the neck area of his kind of samurai kimono Edo period thingy, you're gonna see that it is very jittery. So that looks a lot worse than before, but overall the textures look a bit sharper, even if we kind of try and focus on his face where we did that before and it looked kind of blurry and smeary. It looks sharper, but we still got that issue in the background over there, and it feels a little bit smoother with the updated XeSS frame generation. But anyway, let's go back over here and we're gonna disable all of that good work we did. We're gonna go back to FSR 3.1 and set it to native AA. Gonna confirm everything, and yeah, we're back to square one basically, because we didn't change anything regarding FSR yet. So as AMD users, why did we bother with DLSS and all that stuff? It's because of OptiScaler. So let's go ahead and show off our favorite secret weapon for this channel. Now I know OptiScaler is kind of like magic, and we don't have a native FSR access because the devs locked it down. So if you check the actual, let me show you. So these are the game files, and as you can see, we only have this little DLL file that says AMD_AGS x64 DLL, which is kind of a referral to other files somewhere in these folders. And no, they're not named as they are supposed to be named, as you can see here on the left side: AMD FidelityFX DX12 and upscaler and frame generation DX12.dll. They do not exist in any of these files. We're going to force FSR4 into this game using OptiScaler. So if you want to grab OptiScaler, it's available on their Discord. I would recommend using only the latest version. So yeah, after you download OptiScaler, we've shown this multiple times. Let me go over here in the OptiScaler folder I have. This is the latest version as of the recording of this video. When you do this, it might be an even higher version than this. So yeah, I will just double click on this and you can see we have multiple folders. And what I am going to do is uncheck everything we do not need. So I'm going to uncheck the setup linux.sh because this is a Windows machine. If you're on Linux, obviously do the opposite. And then I'm going to uncheck all the libxcss files because we just updated to the latest version. So DLSS swapper, I trust it has basically the latest and greatest, but I don't know if this is going to be the case for whatever they put in a version of OptiScaler. And then I will uncheck the licenses folder and uncheck the AMD FidelityFX upscaler DX12.dll because we're going to use the int8 version of it. So anyway, I'm just gonna drag and drop all of these files into the main installation folder. And as for the FSR int 8 version, let me just grab it over here. I already have it downloaded, modded upscaler. I'm gonna just copy this and paste it right here. So if you're on RDNA 2, you will 100% need the driver mod I covered in a previous video. And you can find a card up there, I believe, of that video where it's kind of a long one, but you're modding drivers. So what did you expect? I make it as simple as possible. You mod your drivers and then you can use the int 8 version of FSR4. If you're on RDNA 3, you just need the FSR int 8 files. And if you want to download those, just Google FSR4 int 8 download and download the top results from Google, because where these files are hosted usually changes, or that kind of link expires and stuff. So users are hosting this. So if you want to find it, just Google FSR4 int 8 download and you're gonna find the right one, especially if you find links to someone's GitHub repository. But yeah, if you're on RDNA 4, you don't really need to do anything. You just go into your Adrenaline software control panel, and then you click the little switch. So if a game supports FSR 3.1, it's gonna internally swap it to FSR4 and you're pretty much done. And by the way, the installation has been very, very streamlined by the developers. So we just double click the setup windows, .sh. I'm gonna select one for DXGI and then press enter, and then one for AMD Intel. If you're not on AMD Intel, choose the other option, which is NVIDIA. You have to press a different number. So press the numbers that correspond to your hardware setup. I'm gonna press 1 because I'm on AMD hardware, and press enter. And then it is asking me if I want to use the DLSS inputs. I'm gonna say yes. And it's just checking for the latest OptiPatcher, and once it's done, it says please press any key to continue. I'm gonna press any key to continue, and we're pretty much done with the installation. That's it. It's as simple as it can get. Okay, that's done. So we're launching the game again. As you can see on the bottom left, we have the OptiScaler little, card going over there. So that's a confirmation it has installed correctly. Let me confirm this. If you get this message, it's like a trap. So be careful, because you have to read it specifically to understand what this is asking you, okay? Current graphics settings may lead to unstable gameplay. Are you sure you want to reset all settings to the defaults? No, I'm not. I don't want to reset my settings. So if you press yes, it's going to reset all your settings to the defaults. So don't do that, okay? I'm going to press no, and it's going to keep the settings I have selected for this game. Okay, we're in the game. Before we do anything else, I would suggest you go into the settings again. We're going to go into visuals. And what I'm going to do first of all is set the resolution to DLSS, DLAA, and then again I'm gonna kill the sharpness, so we're not using any of that crazy stuff. I'm gonna say, do you wish to proceed? I'm gonna say yes, and as you can see, we're now using DLSS as the input DLL, or upscaler DLL. And basically what happens, OptiScaler hijacks this signal. This allows us to, open the OptiScaler menu over here. I'm gonna press escape so the camera doesn't go crazy. The default key is the insert key on your keyboard, and after you press it, you will see this screen over here. And as you can see, it says that the input upscaler DLL is the DLSS, and then the output, it has by default selected the XSS 202. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna select from this drop-down menu over here the FSR3.x, and then click on the change upscaler button over here. And as you can see, it says FSR 4.0.4 is now activated. Then you click on this little arrow over here, and from this menu, you will be able to select it. If you do not see 4.0.2, something went wrong. You either do not have modded drivers and you're on RDNA 2. So if you're on RDNA 2, it's mandatory to have modded drivers. If you're on RDNA 3 or RDNA 4, you don't need to do this step. For RDNA 3, you only need to swap with the int8 version of FSR4 binaries. Make sure you're on 4.0.2 and then click on the change upscaler button. Your screen might get a little bit jumbled and then you will think that your game has frozen. It hasn't, just give it some time, especially the first time you do this. It takes a little bit of time. And now the other thing I really suggest you do is you uncheck the use FSR input values and then just click on save INI and close. So now we're using the FSR4 binaries over here, and we are on native AA, and it does look a lot better. Let me switch to my mouse and keyboard, and you can see that we have minimized that pixelation on the tiled rooftop over there by a lot. I don't know if this translates correctly over YouTube, as I mentioned multiple times in this video, but yeah, you guys can test it by yourself and see that this looks a lot better now that we are on FSR4. But yeah, it does still not feel that smooth. But anyway, if you want to go ahead and use more aggressive, let's say upscaling, it's going to say DLSS over here. You guys pretty much understand now that this is not DLSS, right? So anyway, I'm going to go with 0.2 sharpness and then 75% rendering resolution. And I'm going to say yes. Very, very stable. I don't see that jitteriness around his neck in the gold parts of his samurai, kimono thingy, armor, whatever. Yeah, looks pretty good. It still feels weird, and sometimes we do get smeariness and ghosting, which cannot be helped. It's because of how the Katana engine takes advantage of, the temporal anti-aliasing or TAA, which cannot be disabled. It's built in on all of these upscalers that we're using. Doesn't matter which one, TAA, TSR, or FSR, or XeSS, or DLSS, they are all kind of the same. They use temporal technology. So anyway, the good thing with FSR4 is that we can go crazy. We could go, let's say, with 50% of the resolution, and we could go up to 0.3. I'm gonna say yes, and it is still gonna look pretty darn good. It's gonna take some time to apply, so give it some time. But as you can see, the character still looks super nice. Some of the details in some of the textures, especially the further buildings, might look a little bit like blurrier, just a tiny bit, but this is really good. And you can see we are over 110 FPS now. We're hitting 120 FPS, but yeah, sometimes we do get ghosting, and especially the higher up we go with all those upscalers, ghosting and stuff, even when we do not have frame generation, does happen. And we saw this happening even with the default upscalers of the game. With FSR4, it's still present, but it's a little bit better than what it was with FSR, the built-in FSR 3.1, and XeSS, the built-in XeSS. So anyway, yeah, this feels better, I have to say. The smoothness is still, unfortunately, not there. And then we can even go crazier. So let me see how low can we get. So this is 25%. that's gonna look insane. I'm gonna go all the way up to 0.5 sharpness, and I want to see how this is gonna look on FSR4. So 25% is like ultra performance. So let's see how this looks. Yep. I can see some pixelations. When I'm not moving the camera, it looks super good. For ultra performance, this is kind of insane. But this is the power of FSR4 and 8. And I'm gonna go back to 75% rendering resolution and then just add the 0.2 sharpness, and we're gonna play the game and enjoy the game with these settings. So basically, the heavy smear of FSR 3.1 and the default XeSS are gone, and the ghosting is minimized. It's not gone completely, but it's minimized a lot, especially with FSR4. But we do have one major caveat. I would not recommend you to use OptiScaler for frame generation in this title. For some reason, it creates a lot more ghosting. It doesn't take into account the UI elements. Even when we use the DLSS G via Streamline, it doesn't really work correctly. So yeah, it often crashes the whole game. So instead, I would recommend we use the in-game frame generation options we get. So it works fine on top of our FSR4 injection, and you can use both now FSR frame generation and XeSS frame generation directly from the in-game menu, and it looks completely fine. So let's go ahead and test it out right now. Resolution advanced settings, this is where the frame generation options are located. You can try the FSR frame generation, it's FSR3 or 3.1, and I'm gonna say yes. As you can see now, it switched to 240 fixed frames because the base frames are always gonna be locked to 120 at a maximum. And then if we double that, we get 240. So let's see how the game looks and performs with, DLSS on. So not too bad. We don't get any ghosting. So yeah, the initial ghosting is still here. Unfortunately, I don't know how visible it is to you guys, but yeah, it's still there. But yeah, in general, my opinion is in this game, I wouldn't recommend using frame generation if for you the game is playable without it. If you're experiencing like 40 FPS or something, I don't know if you're gonna be able to enjoy playing this game, because even if you can hit a constant 60 FPS or higher, the game doesn't feel smooth. And I don't know like how that is gonna play out when you are fighting bosses or something. But yeah, my recommendation would be to drop your graphics settings and then get as close as possible as you can via upscalers and stuff like that to the either 60 FPS locked experience or 120 FPS locked experience, and do not touch frame generation, as the game is not smooth by itself. And number two, it already has ghosting, smearing issues by default without using any frame generation. And when you add frame generation to the mix, it makes it, even worse. But yeah, be really careful. Remember, do not choose the DLSS frame generation when you're using OptiScaler, because the game just crashes in 99% of the times that I was testing it. If this helped you fix that blurry mess and finally enjoy the combat of the game, do me a favor, smash that like button and subscribe. Hit that bell so you never miss another video. If you guys want to take it further, consider joining the GeekJ squad for early access and exclusive perks, or drop a super thanks if you're feeling generous. Once again, massive shout out to my channel architects. This is one of the perks, by the way. You get a shout out. Paris STR and Kostas Dadi. You guys still are and will always remain legends. So drop your results in the comments below. And just so you know, I read every single one of them, and I'm gonna see you in the next one. Bye-bye. Bye. Bye. Hey, made you come back. Just wanted to say I'm really sorry about all the ranting because I'm editing this video. I thought it's gonna be like a 20-minute video. The whole footage almost took 2 hours because I was ranting so much, but Nioh 3 for PC literally made me crazy because of all that's happening in the gaming industry as of late. So yeah, I just want to apologize for that. I will have timestamps in the best way possible in the description below for you to follow if you don't want to listen to me ranting all the time. I'm gonna cut like most of the sections I rant uncontrollably. And then I just want you to keep in mind that I am working on a High on Life 2 optimization video as well. Sorry for all the rants. Skip to the timestamps, whatever, to, you know, optimize your game. And hopefully I'm gonna see you on the next one. Bye-bye.